Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Thursday, October 24, 2019. Want to go over some of the top headlines. Seems that based on the feedback I'm getting today, this is the story most people are interested in. TobyMac's 21-year-old son dies. We're going to talk about that. He died yesterday, Wednesday, October 23rd. We're going to show how it syncs up with TobyMac's most recent album, The Element, which released October 12th, 2018. That was 54 weeks earlier. The element equals 54. We'll talk more about it. So we'll talk about that. There's two stories in the news. One about a 24-year-old son on the 24th becoming a billionaire because he's part of a wealthy pharmaceutical company. Drugs. Of course, drugs equals 24. And then we'll talk more about the suspension of Deandre Ayton of the Suns, the Arizona Star, for drugs. And there's a much greater riddle here with him being a son named Deandre Ayton, suspended 93 days after his birthday. How far did they say the sun is away? How many million miles? Is it 93? Again, I talked about Anita this morning. We're going to talk about that very quickly because we have another sexual assault story in the news by the same numbers. Former Apprentice star Donald Trump, the Apprentice. And somehow I have that story in there twice. We're going to talk about the suspension of the Houston Astros executive. And laugh again at the Thursday night football riddle. 19 points at halftime on the 19-date numerology. 19's the 8th prime number. It's the first game of week 8. And then the final score ends up being 19-9. And of course, we were all over the 19s today. So anyway, TobyMac's 21-year-old son dies. And yeah, rather than read the news, I'll just get to what matters. If you never heard of TobyMac, good for you. He became famous in, I'd say, the early 90s. Whenever DC Talk came out, it was this Christian music group. I remember the first time somebody played some DC Talk for me, I said, can we listen to something else? Anyway, this man's from that group, and he's a Christian rapper these days. So notice, his birthday was October 22nd. Remember, that was the day of the news story of the 3-year-old girl being found dead in a dumpster. We did a video on how that was a satanic ritual. We can revisit that. And so anyway, on that same day, it was this man's 55th birthday. That special number 55, that number that connects to Satan. So the day after his 55th birthday, his son dies. That's the one part of the story we can read. A cause of death has not yet been determined. Yeah, he was a perfectly healthy, functioning 21-year-old, and then he just kicks the bucket right after Dad's 55th birthday. But yeah, for all the Christians out there that are just thinking, "Oh my God, he could never." DC Talk. No, I mean, open your eyes, people. The recording industry, whether it's Christian, whatever, is controlled by the same synagogue as Satan. Anyway, Satan, you want to get famous in this world? That's how you do it. Just like Bob Dylan told everybody on 60 Minutes. Satan equals 55. Blood sacrifice equals 257, the 55th prime number. Sacrifice equals 55. You see how his name Toby McKeon equals 122 and 50? The reason San Francisco's up here is because San Francisco is where the Church of Satan was established in 1966. So just know it's both 122.50 and then satanic is 122 and 50. And I guess just to go over it real quick, Camille McKinney found dead October 22nd, the same day that was his birthday. And I'm not saying these stories are connected. I'm just showing how these satanic rituals take place by the same repetitive code. She was found dead on the 22nd, right? The 22nd of October on 1022. Lose the zero. In numerology, that zero doesn't matter. 122. So a very satanic date, October 22nd. She was found dead in a dumpster. Dumpster 35, like Satan, like Baphomet, like Svengali, the term for the evil in the entertainment industry. And there's a lot of other sick stuff that's coded here. Watch the rest of the video. But, yeah, anyway. Oh, no. Not anyway. Actually, there's one more really important detail of the story. She disappeared on October 12th. She disappeared 10 days earlier. And they emphasized the 10 days. Remember, in Gematria, Satan equals 55 and 10. And remember the Marilyn Manson song. Say 10 with the word S-A-Y and then the number 10 written out, where the lyrics go, you say God and I say 10. Notice Satan with the alphabetic order, 55. With the alphabetic order and rules of numerology, 10. The day she disappeared, if I'm not mistaken, October 12th, is the day leaving 80 days left in the year. Yes, it is. So she disappeared October 12th, and then she was found dead 10 days later. Notice with the reverse alphabetic order, Satan's 80, and then as we talked about, dumpsters 35. Satan and Baphomet are 35. So all of these values matter. But the thing about 55 and 10 is again, 55 has two relationships to 10. It's the 10th Fibonacci number and the 10th triangular number, meaning if you had 1 through 10 together, it equals 55. The Fibonacci sequence, again, you take two numbers and then you add them together to create the next number. So 1, 1, which equals 2, so the next number is 2. 1, 2, the last two numbers, 3. 2, 3, 5. 3, 5, 8. You see? 5, 8, 13, 8, 13, 21, 13, 21, 34, 21, 34, 55. 10th Fibonacci number. Just take the last two numbers of the sequence, add them together to get the next number in the sequence. So after 55 would be 34 plus 55, 89. So on. Anyway, if you write out God with the reverse alphabetic order, it's 55, and with the reverse alphabetic order and rules of numerology, it's 10. Remember, in Hebrew and English, it's 26 letters. God's 26 English. The word letters 26, like we have 26 letters in the alphabet. Again, this comes from Kabbalah, which says God created the world with letters, numbers, words. Anyway, so connecting these two very clearly satanic rituals and Marilyn Manson song, helping us put it all together. Say 10. And really, we had it all put together before this song came out. It was weird how it was shortly after we started talking about reverse gematria and these things that this song came out. I was like, huh, that's weird. But, yeah, I mean, it just, Marilyn Manson, say what you will about him, but I'm grateful for this song right here and this title and helping put this information out, because you really have to be blind to not get it, especially when this goes on in the music recording industry all the time and we're just documenting it week after week after week. You know, since my book released, that's already 800 pages long, I could probably write another 800 pages about all the deaths we've covered since by the numbers. But the name of his son, Truett McKeon, equals 79, like his rap name, TobyMac, like murder, and also like decent Christian talk, which is what his old group, DC Talk, how we got famous, stands for. DC Talk. And again, these multiple ciphers, they're important. DC Talk and October are both 111 and 39. This happens in October. Just so you know, there's a cipher where you multiply the ordinal ciphers times 6, so anything 111 is 666. Makes sense that October is the 666 month, right? It's also the 10th month to bring us back to that relationship of 55 and 10. You know, and then you got things like Santa, which is the same letters, so it has the same value. And then you got Santa Claus, which equals 111, which means it also equals 666. Anyway, his last album that released was The Elements, released last October 12, 2018. From that day to the death of his, to the news of the death of his son, 54 weeks. The news of the death of his son. And to the death of his son was, if you don't count the span, or excuse me, if you do count the span, it was 377 days, which is interesting because 377 is a Fibonacci number. It's the 14th Fibonacci number. Dead equals 14, but again, it's a Fibonacci number. And hold on, I need to refresh the screen because I know I fixed that. There we go. Fibonacci spelled correctly equals 55. Numerology is 55. And we see these patterns again and again. He died on the 23rd of October. His name was Truett, 23. Truett's also 58, like Kevin McKeon. And remember, special number there, 58. Freemasonry, Secret Society, Rosicrucian, Biblical, King James, the Freemason, and Rosicrucian has a Bible named after him, dead at age 58. TobyMac's also 38, and Fateful Numbers, again, Murder by Numbers movie poster, the E changed to a 3, the B's changed to H's, 38. Murder, 38 and 83, the song Murder by Numbers. And again, if you never heard that song, Murder by Numbers by the Police, look up the lyrics and read them. Trust me. If you think any of this is a coincidence, you read the lyrics to that song and get back to me. And Sandra Bullock, 83, whose name's up at the top of the movie poster. So, anyway, his name does have the 38 connection. We end up reading about the death of his son under mysterious circumstances. Think about how this is a biblical, inspired musician. Think about the concept of sacrificing the son in Christianity. God sacrificed his son for mankind's sins. By the way, the New Testament begins with the 42 generations to Jesus. Begins with Matthew, right? The word math is 42. Matthew is 27, like how there's 27 chapters. New Testament is 42. Begins with the 42 generations to Jesus, who died for your sins. There's the 42 laws of Ma'at, which begin with I will not sin. Sin's 42. And, he's the Savior. Savior's 42. Special number there, 42. And I could go on and on about that, but just remind you, why would they do this to a Christian singer? Well, this is what Christianity is. You sacrifice the son for everybody else, right? That's the Christian concept. That's God's master plan. God's going to sacrifice his one and only son for everybody else. That's going to make everything great. You just got to believe in that story. That's all you got to do, and everything will be so great. Believe in this story that doesn't make any sense. Again, for spiritual people, I am spiritual. People always say, Zach, you got to believe in God. That's the comment I always get every time I go on this talk. Just because you don't believe the handed down spiritual narrative you're supposed to take as your holy testament, that doesn't mean you don't believe in God or you're not spiritual. To me, it's like, live by the golden rule. Use the brain God gave you. Don't think you have to believe everything everybody tells you in society and culture. Do respect your elders, but make sure they deserve respect. Just because an older person told you something doesn't mean that it's right. How many old idiots exist in the world? All they've ever given is false, bad, negative information. I picked up on that as a kid. I was like, okay, some old people are cool. I don't know about some other ones. I'm going to think twice about what that person said. Anyway. And when I was a young person, I ended up getting kicked out of confirmation class for asking how, a man can live inside a fish and other relevant questions about Bible stories you're supposed to believe. And I also had the good ear to realize that DC Talk was terrible music. But anyway, this news coming today, October 24, 2019. Date with 73 numerology. Also a date with 46 numerology. Sacrifices 73 and 46. With regards to the news coming on a 73 date, that's the 21st prime number. Bible's 21. Saturn's also 21, which makes sense because if you add 1 through 6 together, it equals 21. Saturn's the god of the Old Testament. 6, mankind made on the 6th day. God regrets mankind in Genesis 6:6. Mankind equals 66. New Testament, when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, equals 66, like how the Bible ends in Revelation, the 66th book, unless you're Catholic, and then it ends in the 73rd book, which makes sense, right? Why the Catholic Bible's 73 books. Jesuits 21 as well. October 23rd is sundial. 10 plus 23, 33. What does that remind me of in Christianity? What son died at 33? Somebody help me out. Jesus. Cross. Notice, just with the alphabetic order. Just don't even, there's other things over here that are interesting, but just look at the alphabetic order. Jesus 74, Cross 74, Messiah 74, Gospel 74, Parable 74. The English translation of Jesus is Joshua 74. The leader of the family in D.C., they say he's from Oregon, which makes me laugh. Oregon. Why Oregon? Because it's the only state of the 50 states using the alphabetic order that sums to 74. And if you doubt that, try it out. I once did it all by hand to figure it out, but you can do it real fast in the calculator. Oregon's the only one that's going to sum to 74, the 33rd state. OR, the abbreviation 33. But just think about it here. DC, this guy's got to be one of the longest going Christian musicians there is. I mean, he's getting near 30 years in the biz. Just put out an album last year. Anyway, Bible 33, Biblical 58, again like their name. By the way, Sun equals 33. October is the only month that sums to 33. So yeah, this looks like a really sick joke here. Synced up with the album release, the name of the album. This is the way it is across the entire music industry. And like I said at the beginning, the same satanic cabal controls the whole show. Okay, so notice this headline right here. Let me make it big. October 24th. Do you think this headline is trying to communicate that there's something more about 24 here? Do they usually emphasize the age of somebody? Eric C. 24 just became a billionaire overnight. October 24th, right? And then you read the article, and I got it right away when I started to read. I was like, oh, okay, hangs out with celebrities, including ones that have been in the news in the last week, 2 weeks. Like literally all three. Rihanna for declining the Super Bowl came back. Bella Hadid, who just supposedly science said was the most beautiful woman, like we showed. If you missed my video on Bella Hadid, go back and watch it. Science equals 58, like Bella Hadid. That was the emphasis, science. There was more to it. Yao Ming over the basketball fallout with China. So anyway, his family, they're wealthy from pharmaceuticals, drugs. So the 24-year-old on the 24th becomes an overnight billionaire from his family's drugs empire. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? And then also in the headlines, right here, Deandre Ayton, the Phoenix Sun, suspended for drugs on the 24th of October, right? So you just see how the headlines are not far from each other. And you go, okay, 2 drug-related headlines, huh? 24. And I already knew this because I talked about this like more than a year ago. Deandre Ayton equals 54 like Sun, right? Somewhere out there is Rambo who could add 1,000 more layers. But with regards to that Sun connection and the fact that he plays for the Phoenix Suns, from his birthday to the suspension is 93 days, right? And isn't that what science teaches, that the sun is 93 million miles away? I mean, it's just comical. And if you write out the sun, it equals 24. This is something I learned when I first started just doing everything by hand. I was like, that's interesting. The sun 24, like 24 hours in a day. And then again, drugs. Even his last name, Ayton, is 24. So, again, it's all ritual. The real reason they do this, have these guys with these scripted suspensions, these scripted busts, it adds narrative and it makes it seem like the leagues are legitimate. Not like they're all doing performance-enhancing drugs and just some of them doing their suspensions here and there to help maintain, the look of legitimacy. But when you realize the way they script the games and their career accomplishments, you see how it's all perfect. So you'll look back and you'll be like, oh, so that's why they had to miss that block of time to line this little ritual up that they had planned. And that's how it really is. And that's why it is all perfect ritual. And the other reason so many of these guys have perfect names and birthdays for the rituals is because they've literally been born and bred to fulfill these roles in society. In 2018, we're going to need a new 7-footer for the Phoenix Suns. Well, let's get him going. And I don't know if that starts in a test tube or what, but there's no doubt that they're doing it in the world of sports, because this is how it is every single day when you know what to look for. To review what I talked about real quick this morning, Anita Hill was back in the news today. Live update. Anita Hill, I'm ready to hold Joe Biden accountable, right? And I just want to revisit this because, again, it sets up the next story. So we were talking about this a lot, more than a year ago now, time flies, about how they swore in Brett Kavanaugh on the same day in history. It was October 6, 1991. On that day in history, Anita Hill came out and accused Clarence Thomas of sexual assault. Clarence Thomas, of course, is on the Supreme Court. This last Supreme Court Justice, Brett Kavanaugh, they waited to swear him in at an awkward time on the weekend on the anniversary of Anita Hill coming out, October 6th. And again, that day leaves 86 days left in the year. Anita Hill, 86. Thomas, 86. Sexual assault, 86. Kavanaugh, 86. And then what happens today? What happens today? Today, notice Anita Hill's birthday is July 30th. And then today, October 24th, 86 days after her birthday, she's back in the news. And now she's saying Joe Biden, didn't help bring, justice that should have happened. He was part of the blockade of that. 86 days later. And, I want you guys to remember something. My first channel, this is the 19th channel since June of 2017. My first channel, which was deleted June 28th, 2017, that was right after the Bilderberg conference, where one of the bullet points that year was what to do about the YouTube truthers. And then there was a major crackdown, including my channel to go down with it. And, at the time there was, I forget, about 4,000 videos probably on that channel. There was a lot. And I probably made 2,000 since then, or close to it. But, when that channel was flushed down the toilet and all the channels with it, it's gotten rid of all of these posts that have shown the same repetitive patterns over and over and over. It's not just these stories. It's not just today's example. It's just that this same stuff goes on again and again and again and again. And by deleting the channel, they deleted a great trail of evidence of several correct predictions on all sorts of topics. Way more than several. A lot of correct predictions. A lot of connected dots. And, the other thing is when my channel got deleted June of 2017, my average video got over 30,000 views. I had several videos in that month up to that time. From the time of Easter up until that, I had several videos get well over 100,000 views. And it took a long time to build up the channel to get it so that videos were routinely getting big views. And look at it now. It's like the work's even way better than it used to be, and it was good back then. But now hardly anyone finds it. Hardly anyone sees it. And again, for those of you out there, you guys need to help spread and share this work, even if it gets you ridicule. What do you think I got? I got nothing but ridicule too. That's how I got to this point of even putting out the content. But we still got to figure out a way to help this information reach more people. So it's just undeniable. And then, by the way, this story coming back of Anita Hill, it comes on the day leaving 68 days left in the year. Remember, rape equals 68, the whole Antonio Brown saga, the rape accusation 68 weeks earlier, joins the Patriots, and then I think plays his first game with them 68 days after his birthday, plus a few other things. I think they ended up cutting him on a 68 date numerology while he was being accused of rape. Again, just the same numbers used in so many sick ways in the big viral news stories. So I'm sure there's a whole lot more to this. I still need to investigate the whole Joe Biden angle, and I'll do that, but there's only so many hours in a day. So there was that, and Then you get this story. This is the same day, later in the day. Former Apprentice contestant shared allegations of Trump's sexual assault in 2011 court filing states. And, Kavanaugh, Donald Trump's Supreme Court Justice. So, again, this comes on the day leaving 68 days left in the year. How many times have I shown The Apprentice and Donald John Trump's 68 and how often this comes up in his career? And then you get a story about an Apprentice contestant, was sexual assault on the day of the Anita Hill story. I mean, it's just so easy. And what year is this from? 2011? I mean, talk about just looking for stories to just, fill in the gaps of the Kabbalistic code of the news delivery every day. And that's what it is. It's this Kabbalist New World Order, whatever you want to call it. Just putting crap together every single day is the latest distraction. I mean, and a story like this just can't be any more obvious. Okay, 2011, you're bringing it up today. So, and again, rape 68, sexual assaults 86, the reflection. So, and again, the multiple ciphers. The reason they're important is because you just can see how they all connect. The Apprentice in Summer Zervos equals 67 as well. Remember, that represents the word female. International Women's Day every single year, except for leap years, is March 8th, the 67th day of the year. 67 is also the 19th prime number, and we have 19 date numerology today. And her name's Summer Zervos. I'll type it in real quick. Summer Zervos. Her name is 59. Her birthday is May 9th. And also 67, like we talked about. It's 130 as well. This is Washington, D.C. related. Washington 130. So, and then her May 9th birthday and her 5'9" name in Freemasonry is 59. You just see all the layers of coding. From her birthday to today is 24 weeks as well. 24. And I know what I forgot to put in there with the screenshot. It's that female in the most pure cipher, the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, is 24. 24 weeks from her birthday, the 24th of the month. You have these two similar stories. They kind of fit in with the Me Too, pro-women empowerment movement. So, 24 weeks on the 24th on a day full of 24s in the news. And this Houston Astros, so this is in the news today, right? On the 24th, this female-related day, Brandon Taubman, executive with the Houston Astros who were losing to the Nationals in the World Series, his name 140 and 50, like Washington's 140 and 50. Brandon's also 68, like the day leaving 68 days left in the year. And I couldn't find his birthday, so I couldn't measure that, but again, just this narrative of similar stories. This guy was harassing women in the media. Other women getting sexually assaulted. Pro-women stories, you could say, on the 24th. And it's not like I'm saying that I'm for sexual assault or harassing women in the media. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, look at how the news is organized and presented in this numerological fashion every single day. And just want to show you tonight's final score of the game, because it's like this week after week. The numbers at halftime end up being the numbers of the final part of the game. Today on Patreon, we talked about how 19 should be a big number today, especially since this is the start of week 8 of the NFL. 19's the 8th prime. We thought Diggs would have a big game. He wears the number 14. TNF equals 14 for Thursday Night Football, what they call it. He did have a big game. Thought the Vikings would win. They retired. They added a man named Jordan to the Ring of Honor tonight. Jordan, 62, just like Minneapolis is 62. And tonight, the team that plays in Minneapolis, the Minnesota Vikings, improved to 6-2, and they became 5-5 at home. 5-5 at home. Remember Super Bowl 52, Minnesota equals 52. That was on the anniversary of Jerome Brown's death for the Eagles. But at the end of that game, the Patriots lost and they became 5-5 in Super Bowls. And it was number 55 of the Eagles who put it away with the sack fumble. And if you go back and look, Tom Brady for his career, he had 223 wins and got his 65th loss in Super Bowl 52, losing to Philadelphia. So, and don't forget, we put that Super Bowl out after week 3 of that season, showing how it was synced up with Trump. And I'm being bad right now. I'm 4 minutes late to a meeting for the new website, so I need to hop off, do that meeting. The Truth Seeker platform's coming soon, so I'll keep you posted, Truth Seeker. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time.